Welcome to Toastmaster Time, the show that has everybody talking. My name is Trich and I'll be your host for this edition of Toastmaster Time. And when I say everybody, I mean everybody. But to be a part of Toastmasters, you have to be at least 18 years of age. But what about people younger than 18? Well, at Toastmasters, we have a program specially designed for people under the age of 18. It's called our Youth Leadership Program. And today, we're going to be having several speakers from a recent Youth Leadership Program. And I think you're going to really enjoy these speeches. So let's get started right away with our first speaker, Apoorva Handigol. Welcome to the show.
Thank
So
you.
let's get right into your speech. We have Apoorva Handigol, The Truth About Lying. The Truth About Lying, Apoorva Handigol.
Lying is bad, unless you're good at it. We trust, but we verify. In God we trust, but everyone else must provide proof. Oxford Dictionaries defines a lie as an intentionally false statement. However, I define a lie as an edible form of the truth. Allow me to walk you through the types of lies, lies in society, and lies in our personal worlds. I am here today to tell you the truth about lying. While there are a multitude of lies in society, the white lie is the most common. It is defined as a harmless or trivial lie, a fib. A common example of a white lie is, "No, officer, I have no idea how fast I was going." Similarly, a black lie can be defined as blackmail. By looking at the various types of lies, I have created a few color lies of my own. For instance, the time when women ask their husbands, "Do I look fat in this dress?" You see, for men, there is only one acceptable answer. "No, honey, you look perfect." This is a pink lie, any lie that is told to or by a woman. They say that electric cars are great for the environment, but this is a green lie. What about all the coal that is burnt to create the electricity that is needed to provide the charging for these types of cars? Lying is so widespread in society that you may be familiar with these common everyday lies. Santa Claus is not real. No offense. Beauty is skin deep. Sorry to break it to you. The table will be ready in 5 minutes. You won't feel a thing. All great authors lie. American writer and National Book Award winner Tim O'Brien is the author of a memoir titled "If I Die in the Combat Zone, Box Me Up and Ship Me Home." In 1999, at Toronto's Humboldt College, O'Brien spoke to creative writing students about his masterpiece. He entranced his audience members with the somber story of receiving his military draft notice. With the dejected details and vivid images of how he eventually went to Vietnam, O'Brien even made some of the students in the audience cry. Then, O'Brien stated that the entire story was a lie. O'Brien once said that you have to tell the truth in fiction, even if you have to lie. Napoleon once stated that history is a set of lies that is agreed upon. If all is fair in love and war, then the Trojan horse is the perfect example of a forgivable lie. During the Trojan War, the Greeks had a trick up their sleeve. They built a gigantic wooden horse that they would be able to hide their soldiers in. After the Greeks convinced the Trojans that this horse was in fact a gift, the Trojans brought the horse into their kingdom. That night, the Greek soldiers came out of hiding of the horse and killed the Trojans. Let us take a moment to look at our own personal lives. I am sure that every one of you has that single lie that has hurt the most. The lie itself may not have caused the real damage, but the pain was because it came from someone who we trusted the most. Our mother. Mothers are the ones who tell their children, "Always tell the truth. Lying will get you nowhere." But the way mothers lie, it's as if it's in their job description. I can still remember my mother lying to me when I was young about buying me a new set of phloem, a Play-Doh-like substance, so that I would eat my vegetables. Or another time, she would promise me something else so that I would study, with the intention of breaking that promise. Children never forget the lies their mothers tell them, no matter how much love, compassion, or good intentions our mothers have. As Friedrich Nietzsche once said, "I'm not upset that you lied to me. I'm upset that from now on, I can't believe you." All lies aside, lying is a fact of life. It exists in literature, history, and personal lives. When you are lied to, do not allow it to hurt you. I believe that all people have good intentions at heart and act accordingly. The truth is, you should do what is right, whether you have to lie or not in the process. In any situation, act as your conscience dictates. I always tell the truth, even when I lie.
Well, never have to think about the truth versus the lies again, especially those little white lies, because of course I look gorgeous on TV. Now, Apoorva, how old are you?
I'm 16.
16. Wow. Oh my gosh. Excellent speech. Why did you choose to join a youth leadership program?
I definitely wanted to broaden my spectrum of speech, and I understand that speaking skills are really important, so I wanted to improve mine because they're important throughout life.
Oh, yes. And I will definitely agree that as you go through college and get a job, I think you'll do just fine in the world of speaking. So thank you very much for being on the show. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Great. Now, I'd like to go ahead and bring in our second speaker, Bhavya Malladi. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So let's get right into your speech. We have Bhavya Malladi, Mallala, every girl's hero. Mallala, every girl's hero, Bhavya Malladi.
School, homework, books, education. To many of us children, these words are extremely common and oftentimes regarded with some distaste. We take our education for granted, and many times we openly discuss our hatred towards it. But did you know that in Pakistan, it's dangerous for a girl to go to school? Even until last year, Pakistani girls who had a passion for knowledge were threatened if they didn't stay at home and stay silently obedient. That is, until one extraordinary 15-year-old girl spoke out against this injustice. This girl couldn't stand to see her education taken away from her, and she did something about it. This girl is Mallala, and she's the girl who stood up for education and was shot. But why am I telling you all of this? To so many of the people around us, schooling is just another part of our daily lives that we take for granted. I admit, sometimes even I've thought about how great it would be to not have to go to school. But so many children in other countries don't have this privilege, even though they're the ones with the constant curiosity for knowledge. I'm telling you the story of this extraordinary girl's fight for education because we all need to appreciate the education rights that we have and help Mallala fight for the ones that others don't. It all started when Mallala's rights to education were taken away. Her father, being a teacher and a founder of a school himself, Mallala had an inborn curiosity for knowledge. She would always look forward to studying, and she was constantly at the top of her class. But as she got older, girls were being criticized more and more just for attending school, which she definitely did not like. Girls were not only not allowed to go to school, but the clothes they could wear and even the places they could go were being controlled. Mallala often spoke out against these injustices that were being forced upon these girls, and eventually she became a main target of death threats from the political group that was controlling everyone's lives. But Mallala never stopped fighting for the same right that boys had, to be able to go to school. On October 9th, 2012, Mallala and her other friends were coming back home from school in a bus, just like any other day. But Mallala noticed that the streets were completely empty, which was an unusual sign. Suddenly, a strange man stopped the bus and boarded it. He asked aggressively, "Who is Mallala?" And no one replied. Mallala and her friends tensed with terror and anxiety as he pulled out a gun and shot Mallala in the head at point-blank range. Nobody expected her to survive. She was constantly moved from hospital to hospital, finally ending up in the UK, a place she had never even dreamed of. However, Mallala made a miraculous recovery and is slowly becoming the Mallala she once was. You would think that after this harrowing incident, Mallala would choose to recuperate in the quiet of her home. But in reality, she has been campaigning for universal access to education ever since. She's the youngest person to be nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize, not to mention so many other awards she received for her passion and efforts. When I first watched a documentary about her, I was shocked. I thought, why would someone do this to a girl who just wanted to be free to learn? Why couldn't girls go to school? I realized that I was completely oblivious to such a gaping problem, and I felt terrible for it. I want to spread the story of Mallala's hardships and the fact that even being shot in the head hasn't deterred her from her goal. But Mallala's story is more than just that of education rights. Her story is about standing up for what you believe in and never giving up in reaching your goals. Mallala is truly an inspiration to me, and she should be to you all too. So help Mallala stand up for the education of girls everywhere. You can read her book, I Am Mallala, and spread the story of her life to others. Or you can simply make a donation to the Mallala Fund. Don't take your education for granted. Each one of us can help change the world and make it a better place with these simple acts. Because just like Mallala herself said, one child, one teacher, one book, and one pen can change the world.
Great. Thank you. You know, Bhavya, I think you make a very good point. Here in the United States, we just take education for granted, but that's not true everywhere in the world. Now, the Youth Leadership Program is an educational program. What were some of the benefits you feel that you received from this program?
Well, I definitely gained a lot more confidence talking in front of people, which I didn't have before, and I got to meet more new people and have more interaction, and I also definitely enhanced my public speaking skills.
Now, how many speeches did you actually give while you were in the program?
While I was in the program, I gave approximately 4 speeches.
4 speeches, so this is really like your, what, 5th or speech? So, wow, this is so excellent. And how old are you, Bhavya?
I'm 15.
Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. I definitely did not have that level of confidence as a speaker, so excellent job. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for being on the show. Now, I'd like to bring in our third speaker, Juhi Desai. Welcome to the show. So let's go ahead and get right into your speech. We have Juhi Desai. Chores give kids bores. That's a mouthful. Chores give kids bores. Juhi Desai.
No, that is the answer you would get if you are a parent asking your child to do their chores. Whether you call it chores or housework, kids absolutely despise it. I myself used to feel the same way at one time, but now I've changed. Kids think that doing chores is a waste of time. This attitude doesn't let them realize that it is actually very helpful to do them. Let's march back into the past, when I used to think as many kids do today. There was just one trait that stopped me from doing any kind of work, and that was my laziness. Every day when I came back from school, all I wanted to do was jump on the couch, put my feet up to watch TV or read a book. Nobody could get me up from my place on the couch. Yes, that's right. None of you. Due to my laziness, my room was a total mess. I want you to imagine a desk at the side of the room with paper scattered on the top everywhere. And then on the shelf beneath it, books wide open, piled on top of each other. Now let's walk over to my closet, where it was just as huge a mess. There were unfolded clothes everywhere. Now you know that my room was a total mess. Though it bothered me, I was just too lazy to clean it. Then, One day, I was missing a very important paper. I searched everywhere, but I couldn't find it. So I approached my mom. I asked her, "Can you please help me find my paper?" She said, "You should have been more organized." She refused to help me. Oh no, what was I going to do? I was so confused and lost. That's when I decided that organization was what I was missing. So one by one, I picked up paper after paper and neatly stacked them and filed them away. And then eureka! There was my paper in the middle of my desk. I was so happy. Organization was the missing piece to my puzzle. As soon as I learned to be organized, I also learned that doing chores is very important. Chores help you in many ways. When you grow older, it lets you become more independent, and independence is very important. When you're independent, you know how to manage yourself as well as your belongings, which chores teach you how to do. As for me, organization was very important. Organization was what I needed. And one thing that teaches you how to be organized is when you load the dishwasher. You have to put dish after dish very carefully and neatly so that every dish gets cleaned. Now that you know that doing chores is very important, I want you to know that what's even more important is to do them with a good attitude. As the saying goes, work is worship.
Oh, thank you very much. You know, chores aren't fun, but sometimes we just have to do them. Juhi, how old are you?
11.
Oh my gosh, 11. Okay. Now, so you've given about the same number of speeches, about 4 or 5 speeches now?
Yeah.
Wow. Excellent job. Wonderful job. Now, why did you choose to join the Youth Leadership Program?
I chose to join the Youth Leadership Program because I wanted to become a better speaker so that I could talk to anyone, even if I didn't know them.
Now, what are some of the benefits you've gotten besides just being more comfortable? For example, you learn how to construct a speech, right?
Yeah.
So what were some of the things that you thought about when you were putting your speech together?
I thought about what was important, what would engage the audience, and what they would think if I put this speech together.
So thinking about the audience first, excellent. You know, many adults have a hard time getting used to that concept because they talk all about themselves. But the fact that you're thinking about your audience and how they might receive the information, that's an excellent job. So thank you very much. I appreciate having you on the show. So just stay here for just a moment. And you know, one thing I forgot to tell you is that all of these students were part of a speech contest. The 2 youth leadership programs that we had a contest at the end of it, and Juhi came in second in your speech contest for her group. We had a second group, and in their group, the first place speaker was Apoorva, and the second place speaker was Bhavya. Not really surprised, were we? Because they're such excellent speakers. Well, now we have to take a short break, but you are watching Toastmaster Time, and we'll be right back.
Name an effective political leader in history who couldn't speak well.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
There aren't any.
Because when it comes to a disease,
Freedom requires leadership, and leadership requires oratory. You have to speak to be heard.
I have a dream.
It's all about personal growth and guts.
Never give in. Never, never, never.
Welcome back to Toastmaster Time, the show that has everybody talking. Well, you've heard some wonderful speeches, but now I'd like to talk a little bit more about what is the Youth Leadership Program. And for that, I have a special guest. We have Jean Luong. And welcome to the show, Jean.
Thank you for inviting us.
5, 3, 2, 1.
And what club are you with?
Union City Toastmaster Club.
How many of these youth leadership programs have you coordinated so far?
I co-coordinate 5 programs.
Wow, oh my gosh, such dedication. Excellent, awesome. Could you explain to our audience what is a youth leadership program?
Youth Leadership Program is a 8-week sessions, workshop style that help kids with public speaking as well as leadership skills. And it's sponsored by individual Toastmaster Club and run by Toastmaster members. And each session is run almost similar to a Toastmaster meeting that have time for prepared speech, table topics, as well as student evaluations.
So it would be a Toastmasters Club who would need to choose to put on one of these programs?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I understand this is a program from Toastmasters, and you order materials from Toastmasters International. What are some of the materials that you receive from Toastmasters?
You can order from International Toastmaster handbook that provides step-by-step for the coordinators as well as for the students to follow.
So students do receive a workbook that
yes.
they can work from?
Step by step.
Step by step, okay, well that's
so
good.
No worry.
No worries. All right, and what are some of the, now you said it's sort of run like a Toastmasters meeting, so what would be some of the sections of the meeting that the students would go through?
So usually we introduce with basics public speaking skills, and then we talk into organizations, body gestures, vocal varieties and vocabulary, listening skills, impromptu speech.
Okay, so you're actually teaching them how to organize a speech and how to, word choices. Okay, and now you talked about impromptu speaking. So what is that? How do they learn to speak impromptu?
Just like us, each student will have 1 to 2 minutes to answer an impromptu questions, and they love it, especially when you have fun topics and you add body gesture to it. They just have lots of fun.
Okay. Now, where do you find students who participate in the program?
From past graduate students as well as parents, PTA website, Toastmaster Club website, community newsletter, and just words by mouth.
Okay. Now, what is the age range of students in the program?
From elementary to high school students, and it depends on specifications of certain Toastmaster Club or the coordinator, what age they're more comfortable with.
Okay, so you've had kids as young as like what, 11, 12? Well, we saw Juhi, she was 11 years old.
Yes.
Oh my gosh,
yes.
Okay.
I coordinate a program that 4th grade. And
Fourth grade.
Yes, and I have students as well as
and
senior.
do you see that same sort of progress that we see with the older students?
It's a different kind of thinking, but it's very refreshing regardless.
Oh. Yes. Now, if you're a Toastmasters Club interested in putting on one of these programs, what things did you think about? What do you need to do to put on one of these programs?
If in your club there is anyone whose interests are willing to start a club, please support it and go for it. Make it happen. The need for the YLP in the community is so tremendous. We have inquisition from the parents and students all the time. There are parents and students willing to commute either by driving or by BART an hour each way just to attend the YLP.
Oh my gosh,
yes.
Okay. And so okay, we talked about the educational topics that are in the program. Now, do you teach all of those yourself?
Oh no, we try to invite different educational speakers within and outside of your club, within the district. And I try to be very selective in trying to find only the best. Find a speaker anywhere that best illustrate as well as educate our students on that specific topics or skills for the students.
Oh, great. Yeah. Okay, that sounds good. And you know, like any program, sometimes you learn from experience. All of these 5 programs that you've put on. What are some pitfalls that a club who's choosing to put on one of these programs might want to avoid?
You want to try to limit the class size to 10 to 14 max so that you have time for the student to finish at least 3 prepared speech and for the coordinator to have time to follow as well as to give the effective feedback for the student to grow.
Now, do you handle all 10 students by yourself?
I have a partner in crime in each of the programs, so we share.
All right.
Yes.
So you'd recommend doing this with someone to
yes.
help kind of carry the load a little bit?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. And what are some of the best practices that you've learned over these 5 youth leadership programs that you've put on?
definitely make time for the table topics. Kids love them and they're really good at them. Also, try to involve and encourage the parent participation as much as possible. As like have them sign up for contribution to snacks for break time. Kids love them and they get more energy from it. Also, invite them to stay back for the whole session. If they see the growth of the children, they will support even more and spread the word too.
Now, we've obviously heard some of the students talking about the benefits. Have you gotten any feedback from parents about what they like about the program? What kind of feedback are you getting from the parents?
You can see that sometimes like they have overnight transformations. Some of our youth come in, they are tongue-tied and cannot even say the first word of their speech. But by the end of just 8 sessions, they can give a competent speech, illustrate all the skills that they just learned. And outside of Toastmaster, youth Toastmaster, they are more confident to present their class projects, participate in different speech contests, as well as to step into different leadership roles in school as well in the community.
Great. Now, I guess I'm just sort of thinking about, you know, I would really like to see more clubs put on these youth leadership programs.
Definitely.
It sounds like the demand is there. What we're not getting enough of is the Toastmasters Club. So if you could just really think of, you know, maybe one thing that's just going to grab a Toastmasters Club's attention, that's going to convince them to do it, what would you say?
This may be the best investment you make for the youth in your community.
So what benefits have you gotten out of being a coordinator in the program?
I just feel such rewarding to see the kids grow and transform and to become a better speakers.
So you feel that you've actually received some benefits out of being the program. Do you feel that you've become a stronger leader from doing this?
I feel a stronger leader, but more importantly, to see the kids, not just one, but each batch, like 10 to 14 kids, grow as speakers as well as leaders. It's a wonderful feeling.
Great. Well, it looks like that's our show for this episode. I'd like to thank you for being on our show and giving more information about the Youth Leadership Program. But for now, what I'd like to do is let our audience know that we do tape our show in the San Francisco Bay Area. If you would like more information about Toastmaster Time, you can go to our website. That's toastmastertime.com. You can also watch some of our previous episodes there. We are a part of District 57. They sponsor us, so we really appreciate that. You can find out about local events in the East Bay portion of the San Francisco area. Their website is d57tm.org. Or you can find out more about Toastmasters International or the Youth Leadership Program, or where to find a club near you by going to the Toastmasters International website, and that's toastmasters.org. We'd like to thank all of our volunteers here at the Mid-Peninsula Media Center in Palo Alto, because without them, we don't have a show. So we really appreciate their help. I'd also like to thank our guest speakers for today. We had Apoorva Handigol, we had Bhavya Malladi, we had Juhi Desai, and my special guest as a coordinator, Jean Luong, one of our partners in crime in the Youth Leadership Program. I've been your host. My name is Trish Gray, and this is Toastmasters Time. So join Toastmasters and keep talking, everybody, no matter how old you are. Become comfortable speaking. Thank you.